My name is Michael Young, and I'm a lawyer who handles life insurance beneficiary disputes. A common issue that I see is a dispute regarding whether or not a former spouse can receive life insurance benefits. A common scenario is a married couple, one or both of them buy life insurance and they designate their spouse as the beneficiary. Very common. But then they get divorced and they fail to change the beneficiary designation after the divorce to designate someone else, either their new spouse or another family member. So what happens? Well, the first question that I ask is whether or not the policy is governed by state or federal law. The way I determine that is to look at where the policy was purchased. If the policy was purchased individually through an agent or through an internet resource, typically the policy is going to be governed by state law. If it's obtained through a private employer, where many people get their life insurance, or if it's from a service member or a veteran, it's typically going to be covered by federal law. Or if it's a federal employee, it's going to be typically covered by federal law. Those are FEGLI policies. Federal law typically provides that the insurance company must pay the designated beneficiaries even if they're former spouses. It's often different with state law. Approximately 30 or more of the 50 states have laws that essentially wipe out designations in favor of former spouses with very limited exceptions. So generally, the former spouse doesn't get the money. It will go to a contingent beneficiary or to the estate of the deceased person. But with federal law, is there anything that can be done to prevent the former spouse from receiving the proceeds? And that's where it gets very complicated. But some states have recognized causes of actions or claims by the estate of the decedent against the former spouse. And that typically involves the divorce decree. Many states, including Texas, have divorce decrees with common language where each divorcing spouse waives any right or claim or interest to policies of insurance insuring the life of the other spouse. That's very common language. So some state courts have recognized a claim that says, well, they can receive the policy benefits, but the former spouse may not be able to keep the policy benefits if the estate can try to enforce the divorce decree. Now, this is a very complex area of the law, and it's very important that you contact somebody who is experienced in evaluating these claims. I have represented estates against former spouses trying to recover these proceeds successfully, and sometimes I'll represent a former spouse who is resisting a challenge to turn over the policy proceeds. If you are facing one of these situations, feel free to give me a call.